Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Crystal Skull Isu Spyglass. For 2 colorless and 2 blue, it's a legendary artifact with you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play historic lands and cast historic spells from the top of your library. Artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic, and tap, add blue. Now this card seems very sweet to me. It's been a long time since Future Sight has really been playable in Commander because it's just too expensive for a card that doesn't do that much on its own unless you're an extremely low to the ground deck, and this fixes a few of the problems with that card by costing 1 mana less and actually doing something else by tapping for mana itself. That might not seem like a big deal, but I think it's actually a huge difference, and the fact that it's also easier to cast definitely helps. But what really pushes this over the top is its card types. So it's a legendary artifact, and that is just going to be much better in most decks than a random enchantment with no legendary subtype. So in the right deck, this can absolutely pop off. You're obviously going to want to have a deck with a lot of historic cards, but luckily for us, artifacts are all historics, and there's a lot of artifact decks in Commander. And conveniently, this happens to also be an artifact, so it's going to have synergy with those decks. In those kind of decks, this is going to be very powerful because you're running a card that's going to synergize with your deck that's going to give you an absolute boatload of card advantage and is actually tapping for mana as well. So even though it's quite overcosted as a mana rock, the fact that it gives you all of this virtual card advantage makes it more than worth the extra mana or 2 over regular mana rocks. Now the deck that immediately came to mind for me when I saw this card was Lara Croft, and that card is getting an absolute ton of support from this set, let me just say, because there's so many legendary equipments that auto-equip and provide value immediately, and now we're seeing legendary artifacts as well. It also seems fairly likely that we might see some legendary lands, which is what Lara really cares about. So when you factor all of those things in, she's getting a ton of support from this set. And this card in particular is going to be very good in the deck because not only is it a legendary artifact, so of course that works well with her, but it basically is going to make it so that you never run out of gas in that deck since you're running such a high density of historic spells that you should be able to always chain them and have a bunch of virtual card advantage thanks to this. Not only that, but it's a very mana hungry deck that has always needed more mana rocks, but you don't really want to run regular mana rocks because they're not legendary, whereas this actually fits perfectly in that sense too, since you're not giving up one of your legendary slots. So yeah, this is going to be amazing in Lara Croft, it's going to be amazing in artifacts decks, and it can also be amazing in historics decks. So even if you're just playing something like Joda, even though it's 5 colors, it might still be worth including this when you factor in the amount of card advantage that this can give you. Maybe not in Joda if your mana base can't afford it, but in most historic decks that are less colors than that, this is going to be an auto include, and it just seems like a really good effect. I'm not sure how much this set is going to be opened, but hopefully this doesn't end up costing too much. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think though? Do you disagree with me or do you think I got it right? Let me know in the comment section below. I always make sure to read all of your comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.